In the heart of Ibadan, a bustling city that never sleeps, Tunde stood outside his late father's house. It had been 2 weeks since the funeral, and the family still felt like a ship without its captain. Tunde's eyes were fixed on the old safe at the corner of the small living room, its paint chipped with age. No one knew exactly what the safe held inside, but every family member wondered, hoping it contained something to break the silence of death. His cousin Kunle walked up to him, dusting his hands. "Have you tried opening that safe yet?" Kunle asked, nodding toward it. "Not yet," Tunde replied, shifting his weight. "I was hoping to, wait. What if it holds something important? We should know now." Kunle pressed, anxiety edging his words. Tunde sighed. "All right, let's open it then." The rusty combination lock clicked open after several attempts. As Tunde opened the safe, the anticipation was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Inside lay an old, dusty Nokia phone. Beside it was a single piece of paper with a number on it, nothing else. "You mean the entire safe just holds this old phone?" Kunle scoffed, disappointment clear on his face. "I was hoping your dad left us something better." Ignoring Kunle, Tunde picked up the phone, its edges smooth from use. He pressed the power button, but it didn't turn on. "Looks like the battery's dead," he mumbled. Kunle shrugged. "Probably just some old junk, but hey, you never know." "I'll charge it and see," Tunde murmured, not sure if he spoke out loud or if it was a promise made silently to himself. Back in his room, away from the noise of family gatherings, Tunde plugged the phone into a charger he'd borrowed from his cousin. As he waited, memories washed over him, his father's laughter, his advice, and the warmth of his presence during Harmattan nights. When the phone finally powered up, there was only one thing of note. A single voice recording labeled, "Play Me." Tunde's heart skipped a beat. His finger hesitated over the play button. Somewhere deep inside, he hoped this recording might be his father's final words to him. Something meaningful to bridge the void left behind. Tunde took a deep breath and pressed play. His father's familiar voice filled the room, calm and steady. "If you're listening to this, Tunde, it means I've passed on. I need to tell you something important about our family." As the words flowed, Tunde's eyes widened. The recording didn't just hold personal messages, it was a revelation, a recount of something he never imagined. His father spoke of a large sum of money that was supposed to be his inheritance, hidden away under the care of a trusted family friend. "This money is yours to build your future," his father's voice continued. "But you must be careful. Not everyone around you is what they seem." Tunde's grip on the phone tightened as the recording ended with his father's last earnest words. "Be wise, son." Kunle barged in, the door swinging open with a creak. "Did you find anything?" he asked impatiently. Tunde hesitated. The room felt suddenly small, as if the walls were closing in. Could he trust Kunle, who always seemed so eager? "Just some old messages," Tunde said carefully, slipping the phone into his pocket. Kunle raised an eyebrow, sensing there was more. "I see. Well, if you discover anything about the family wealth or, anything important, let me know." Tunde nodded, but inside, doubt whispered. His father's words echoed in his mind. "Be wise." Later that night, as Tunde lay staring at the ceiling, thoughts tumbling over each other like waves, he realized he was standing at the edge of a decision. His father's message suggested betrayal, maybe from within the family. He needed to find out who this trusted friend was. Could it be someone close or someone long forgotten? The room was dark, silent but for the ticking clock. Tunde knew he couldn't trust just anyone. He needed allies, but first he needed the truth. 2 days later, Tunde found himself at a local cafe, sitting across from Sarah, his childhood friend. She was someone he could rely on, someone with no interest in whatever inheritance lay tangled in family webs. "Sarah, I found something," Tunde started, voice low and urgent. "Something my father left for me, but there's a mystery surrounding it." Sarah leaned in, concern lining her brow. "What is it?" "Money. A lot of it. But I don't know who my father left it with." Sarah nodded slowly. "So you think someone else knows? Maybe someone who doesn't want you to have it?" "Exactly." Tunde felt the weight lifting slightly just by confiding in her. "We can work together," Sarah suggested. Find out who this trusted friend was. Back at the family house, tension simmered beneath the surface as relatives gathered now and then, searching for something to hold on to in the absence of the family head. Tunde stayed mostly quiet, watching, listening. At dinner, tensions flared when Kunle mentioned debts and unpaid loans linked to their father's estate. Strangely, he seemed almost too interested in digging through the family's accounts. "Maybe Tunde should be handling this," Sarah said, joining them one evening. "He is, after all, the rightful heir, isn't he?" Kunle smirked, a shadow passing over his face. "Of course. But we should all share the responsibility. It's what family does, right?" Everyone nodded, but the air felt charged with something Tunde couldn't yet name. A few days later, while going through his father's old belongings, Tunde found a hidden compartment in a dusty drawer. Inside lay a crumpled receipt with a phone number scribbled on the corner and the initials AF. Who was AF? It was a small lead, but Tunde grasped onto it as if it was a lifeline. As he grasped the paper, voices from the living room drifted toward him, Kunle's voice rising above the rest. "If Tunde can't manage what our father left, someone else should step up," Kunle declared. Glancing at the initials again, Tunde whispered to himself, "I'll find out who you are, and then we'll see." The next morning, armed with the receipt, Tunde sat outside a small shop known for offering its phone service to residents. He dialed the number, each beep echoing the pounding of his heart. "Hello?" a gruff voice answered. "Good afternoon, sir. I'm calling about a receipt with your number on it, signed AF. Do you know someone named—" The line was silent for a moment, then crackled back to life. "I do. What's your interest in him?" Tunde took a breath. "He was a friend of my late father, and I believe there's something important he entrusted to you." Silence hung in the air, thick with unspoken questions. Then the man sighed. "Meet me tomorrow at noon, Ibadan Market, by the fabric stalls. We have much to discuss." Tunde's heart raced. Was this finally the path to his father's lost secret? As Tunde waited at the bustling market, surrounded by vibrant colors and the noise of haggling, he felt isolated, a single drop in the sea of life around him. Every second seemed to stretch into eternity. Then he saw a man approaching, matching the voice on the phone, older, with sharp eyes that seemed to miss nothing. "You must be Tunde," the man said, nodding slightly, as if confirming something known only to him. "Yes, sir. Are you AF?" "I am and was your father's closest ally," he said cautiously. Tunde's curiosity piqued. "Did he give something to you? Something valuable?" The man studied him for a moment as if measuring his soul. "He did. And if you truly are your father's son, you'll use it wisely." AF handed Tunde an old, battered envelope. He opened it to reveal bank documents and an account number. Inside lay Tunde's future, the proof of what his father had saved for him all these years. "I've kept this safe, as per his wishes," AF explained as they stepped away from the bustling market. "Your father trusted you'd know what to do." Tunde nodded, gratitude mixing with determination. "Thank you for your loyalty." "Remember," AF said, voice low, "not everyone is as they seem, even those you call family." With his path finally clear, Tunde knew it was time to confront the ones who had been circling, waiting to pick his life apart like vultures. Returning home, Tunde held his newfound power close, ready to face the threads of betrayal winding through his family. The key to his father's wealth, solid proof now in hand, meant he could unravel everything. That evening, as the family gathered for a meal, tensions lay thick as fog. Tunde cleared his throat. "Everyone," he began, standing at the head of the table, "I found what our father left for us, and it's time to talk about the truth." Eyes widened, forks froze in mid-air. Kunle, sitting opposite, narrowed his gaze. "What truth?" he challenged, a defensive edge to his voice. "That some of you," Tunde said calmly but powerfully, "have been less than honest." The dining room fell silent, save for the ticking clock, each tick an unheard witness to the unfolding drama. Tunde laid out the papers from AF, the air taut with expectation. "As you can see, this was meant to secure our future, our family," Tunde continued, "but not through lies or manipulation. Kunle shifted in his seat, tone cold. What are you accusing me of? Nothing yet, Tunde answered, folding the papers. Just a reminder that loyalty and integrity are worth more than whatever you thought you were entitled to. The tension was palpable, the room divided between those who would plot and those who still stood by love and honor. The next morning, as the rising sun painted the clouds with shades of hope, Tunde had a plan. He couldn't let this battle tear his family apart. He needed more information, and he needed it fast. As he headed out, he repeated his father's words to himself like a prayer. Be wise, son. The bustling streets of Ibadan seemed oblivious to his turmoil as he called AF again. This time, the conversation was about strategies, allies, and finding a foothold. Their conversation was brief and pointed, leaving Tunde with a decision he knew he had to make alone. He needed to confront Kunle directly. Later that day, Tunde sat across from Kunle in a quiet corner of their father's study. The tension between them was palpable, strings pulled taut, ready to snap. Kunle, I just want to know one thing. Are you in this for yourself, or are there others you're protecting? Tunde's voice was steady, but inside, fear waltzed with hope. Kunle's face was inscrutable. You say that as if it's only black and white. Maybe there's more at stake here than you realize. Tunde leaned forward, searching Kunle's eyes for any sign of betrayal or repentance. Then help me understand, Kunle. Help me know who to trust. Kunle hesitated, the air between them charged with a lifetime of brotherhood and rivalries. Finally he spoke, his voice just above a whisper. There are others, Tunde. Others who want a piece of what our father built, and they won't stop at anything. Tunde felt the ground quake beneath this revelation. His mind raced, piecing fragments of conversations, suspicious glances, and secrets kept too close to the heart. Kunle, why didn't you tell me before? We could have faced this together instead of fighting each other. Kunle ran a hand through his hair, his frustration evident. Because sometimes protection looks a lot like betrayal, Tunde. I didn't want you dragged into this. You did the opposite, Kunle. The pain of betrayal laced Tunde's words. Now there's a mess at our feet, and we're both covered in it. Kunle hung his head, regret etched in the lines of his face. I know, but I don't know how to fix it now. That evening, alone in the solitude of the family house, Tunde found himself wandering back to the chapel down the street. It was a quiet place he'd often visited with his father, a sanctuary in times of strife. As he stepped inside, the weight of his choices and the legacy of betrayal echoed through the empty pews. He sank into one, head bowed, his silent prayer spilling into the sacred space. God, I don't know what to do, he whispered, voice tight with emotion. I've been angry, lost, and I sought revenge, but now I see it consuming me and tearing us apart. His confession hung in the air, heavy and unadorned. Sitting in his father's favorite pew, Tunde found his eyes drawn to an open Bible at the altar. A verse stood out like a beacon amidst the chaos of his thoughts, Ephesians 4:31-32. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice, he read, voice hushed. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. The words cut through the fog of his resentment like a spear of light. Forgiveness. Could he find the strength to offer it, even now? Tunde felt the tears begin to flow, silent reminders of the grace he desperately needed. He knew now that revenge wasn't the answer. It never had been. Rising from the pew, he called Sarah, her voice a steady anchor as he explained. I need to talk to Kunle again. This time, it's different. Sarah agreed, her confidence in him unyielding. Go and remember, Tunde, you're not alone. God is with you in this. Back at the house, Tunde found Kunle in their father's study, surrounded by the echoes of their recent confrontation. Kunle, Tunde began, his voice steady despite the tremor in his heart. I want to fix this, but we can't do it alone. We need to let go of the past, of the anger and betrayal. Kunle looked at him, surprise flickering in his eyes. And how do you suggest we do that after everything? Tunde inhaled deeply, feeling the air filling him with resolve. By forgiving ourselves and each other just as Christ taught us. Kunle's defenses crumbled as he heard Tunde's words. His eyes shimmered with unshed tears, the weight of his choices resting heavy on his shoulders. For a moment, they were not adversaries but brothers, faced with a choice that could change the course of their lives. I don't know if I can, Tunde, Kunle admitted, voice cracking. I've held on to the bitterness for so long. Tunde nodded, understanding the struggle all too well. It's not easy, but it's necessary. We can work together to clean the mess our conflict created. The room felt lighter somehow, the burden of deceit beginning to fade. With no words left unspoken, Tunde and Kunle walked into the night air. The stars above seemed a reminder of the vastness beyond their struggles. Remember our father's saying about stars? Kunle asked, a hint of a smile softening his features. Tunde nodded, a small smile curling his lips. That they guide us home when the path is lost. As the brothers sat on the veranda steps, Tunde felt a sense of peace that had long eluded him. He knew this was a beginning, not of revenge, but of redemption. In the days following, Tunde and Kunle worked together to untangle the financial webs around their father's legacy, facing the wrath of those who sought to manipulate the situation for their own gain. But this time they did so united, their past scars a testament to their perseverance and newfound faith. As the brothers repaired relationships within the family and began rebuilding their father's estate, Tunde discovered the depth of forgiveness, both given and received. It was not a perfect journey, but one filled with grace in each step. In the quiet of the family home, Tunde found himself flipping through his father's Bible one evening. The verse in Ephesians caught his eye once more, its promise more real than ever before. Just as in Christ God forgave you. He closed the book, letting its truth settle deep into his spirit. He had learned that forgiveness didn't erase the past, but it was powerful enough to heal the future. The family gathered once more, this time not in grief or suspicion, but in a shared moment of thanksgiving. They prayed together, hearts open and minds clear, their faith renewing their bonds. As the meal ended, Tunde stood and said, "We've been through a storm, but God has shown us how to build again. Our family is our legacy." A soft agreement filled the room, and the family basked in the serenity of community restored. Tunde knew there was still work ahead, but he had faith that they would rise above the shadows. Later, as Tunde sat on the porch steps, the Bible cradled in his hands, he felt a hand on his shoulder. Kunle stood beside him, the shadows of the night unable to dim the light within. "Thank you, Tunde," Kunle said, his words quiet but sincere. "For everything." Tunde looked at his brother, feeling a kinship deeper than blood. "I should be thanking you, Kunle. You've taught me that only God's love can truly heal and guide us." As the first star twinkled into view, they watched together, the journey they had taken, not a tale of revenge lost, but of redemption found. A truth that would guide them home, always. The family would continue to face challenges, but armed with faith, they were prepared to build a future where love and trust could thrive.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2, or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.